when writers say they're writing a book, they always start with a shitty first draft, which is like a first pancake. It's going to be greasy, it's going to be burnt, disgusting. But if you don't do that first pancake, you never get to do the other ones.
Hello, and you're with Aveline Clark on the 6-Star Business Podcast, where we have conversations about what it takes to be 6-star as a 6-star leader in a 6-star business in a 6-star world. And in this episode, I sat down with Maite Grisard from Belgium. She is a ball of energy, and it was a delight to speak with her. She works with businesses in helping them structure their teams in the most energetically efficient way. She's all about connection. She's bursting with energy herself and just loves being with people and finding the flow in a team or the dynamics in a group and optimizing that. That's what she does. She also busts through paradigms and old stuck energy, both literally and figuratively. She's a future optimist, loves challenging the status quo and seeing how she can be a better human in this world as an example to others. I came away from this conversation feeling like I want to be a better person. That was the impact she had on me. It really was that powerful. It was such a great conversation. There was lots of gems in this. We covered many different topics. I invite you to sit back and enjoy this one with Maite Grisard. Here we are. It is another episode of the 6-Star Business Podcast. I am here with my co-host, Corey Sebest, and I'm welcoming Maite Grisard. Have I pronounced that correctly?
Yes, almost. Yeah, really.
Almost. I was close.
Yeah. May's fine. May's fine. You're with me.
Thank you. Thanks, May. That's one of the things about having an international podcast.
Evelyn, normally you're asking me how I'm doing, so I'm very happy to be back again. And for me, this episode is very special because today we have my friend and business partner, Maite, who is going to tell us about her wonderful life and the challenges. And I'm looking forward to ask her some questions down the line.
Thank you. We both are. This is very exciting. I'm excited too. So it's not just you, Corey. I am extremely excited. So let's get started. Let's get to know you, May. I'm going to ask you a few questions. So if you could tell us, where are you in the world? Who do you serve? How do you serve them? And what's something you like to do when you're not busy serving people?
So I'm in Belgium, Europe. I serve companies. Mostly I do the link between top management and the teams. I have a lot of energy and I love to use that energy to empower people and help, managers delegate the right way and put trust really in the people and have those people take that trust and use it for the well-being of the company. And that's really, the way I do that is on the field, except when COVID hits, then I can't. But now it's back on track, so I'm very happy about that. I'm very much of a field people, face-to-face kind of person. I really love it. That's where I thrive. I also do a bit of follow-up online, but really my thing is being with the people and seeing, what's happening, not when you're in the meeting room, but when you're in the hallways and in the coffee machine and then seeing somebody who's not daring to say something, then 2 weeks later or 2 months later, just going in and just saying things, because they know that they have to. That's their job. That's what they're doing. They're working for a company and not for a person anymore. And that's really get me thriving in my job. That's really what I love doing. And when I'm not doing that, I'm a historical horse rider. I have old horses, and now that they're retired in the meadow, really eating grass, I call them my goldfishes because they really don't do anything anymore. Then I get to travel. So I'm a traveler as well, first the horse, second the travels. Yeah.
I've never heard someone or anyone relate their horse to a goldfish before.
Yeah.
That's a great start.
Yeah. Well, they don't do anything anymore. I just feed them and they're happy to see me. And then they go back to their little fish tank, or horse tank. Yeah. But they're big ones, big goldfish. Yeah.
That's gorgeous. I love your passion. Your energy is so palpable, so vibrant. You know, it's just coming out through the screen. And when you're talking about you love being on the field with the people, I could just imagine you there. Really can.
Yeah.
Loving it. And tell me, how did you get to this place? Like, how did you figure out what your genius was?
I think I always, lots of people say the best years of their life were university. For me, it wasn't that at all. At university, I couldn't wait to work. I was like, this is too boring. I want to do stuff, I want to be in the world. I want to see how it is. I want to help, I want to be useful, and I can't do a lot. And so let's do it, right? And I started being an employee for a few years. It was fine, but I have like 2-year cycles where I get bored very easily, and I tend to work for a company and never for people. So all the the discussion and the respect your manager or don't ask questions to the top management, that wasn't something that I would do. If there was something that I thought was wrong for the company, I would just say it in front of everybody or nobody. It didn't matter. And it was received well enough. It's not that, but it wasn't pushing hard enough for me. I wanted more intensive, and so at some point I moved to Canada actually for a year. When the goldfish retired, and I could start traveling, I went to Canada, and I started being a freelance there, working with tech companies, tech startups. I was in the startup world at my last employee job, with my last job, and so I stayed in the tech world, and I really enjoyed helping different kind of startups, different kind of companies, and seeing different kind of industry. I For me, having fun is learning new things, and asking questions and trying to understand things. 2 weeks ago, I was in Berlin at a blockchain conference. It was awesome. I talked with developers and beautiful geeks and nerds that love what they're doing, and I don't understand in depth what they're doing, but I don't care. I understand the surface, right? And so I went back from Canada because it was a one year thing, and I decided, I don't have one client to my name. I don't care. I'm just going freelance, and in Belgium that's quite expensive. But I was like, that's what I'm gonna do. And I got a bit of luck. I went to a startup weekend, and I met someone who wanted to start a health app, in the tech business, tech and healthcare. And for me, it was the project that could potentially change the world. I was like, this is awesome, and so I put all my energy in that, and then I continued working. It stopped after 2 years again. I'm a 2-year kind of person, but simply because my co-founder wanted to go one way, I wanted to go another way. So I told him, just go your way, I'll go mine, and we'll find. And that's where I really started working with different projects and trying not to get too deep into a business. And that's what I'm doing now. And I've been doing that for, yeah, must be 4 years now, 4 or 5 years. And I really like that intensity that it brings me, and it brings also the client. I come in, I shake people up, lots of energy, good, good, let's work energy, but also a lot of information, a lot of ideas, a lot of first steps. And then I do the follow-ups, and I help them do the first part of doing things. So I'm not just an advisor, let's say. I'm a doer with them, and that I love. But once I see that they can go without me, I let go, and I'm like, okay, off you go, have fun. And then they tell me about it or whatever, and if there's a block, I do that. But I like that structure, that format, where I go to companies every 2, 3, or 4 months, not more, because that way I still have that perspective on the business, and also I get to travel to conferences. For me, that's recycling. That's really, I can bring that to my clients. I can bring not only other industry but also other cultures. So I try to travel at different places, always either to do field work as well for clients, going on trade show for clients, or doing market analysis for clients, or for myself, just because this trade show is interesting to me, this city is interesting to me. I want to understand the culture. I want to understand what's, what industry they thrive with, what they really like, who is it good with, what kind of business should go there, and so I just go. I just go. It's just, yeah.
Maite,
Yeah,
how challenging is it for your customers to cope with your level of energy and passion?
they do push me out of the door at the end of the week. Yeah. I get in, they're very happy, they're excited, they were they're like, "Okay, Mike is coming." But then,
Mm,
we get along quite well. I kind of love everybody. Corey knows this, but there's always something to love about anybody and in any culture. It's all about individuals. When you get to the
mm,
individual and you try and understand them, then there's always something that you can relate to. There's always something
mm.
that you cherish and that you really appreciate in the person, and you get that, and it just goes. But it's true that usually I with some clients I just go 3 days because after 3 days they're done. They're like, okay, okay, off you go. Because I tend to, yeah, I just remove all the barriers, but it's a lot. And for me, it's very exciting. And then my energy when I'm having fun is getting up, And so sometimes there's often when I'm with my clients, we're in a meeting, and the best one is there's a disagreement, there's conflict. And so I get into the conflict, and then at some point I just laugh and I say, "Isn't this fun?" And people are like, "Well, but it is because it's good conflict, it's good things." And so honestly, I've never had a problem with the client saying my energy was a problem. They like it, but I am an intense person. That is true. I can be overwhelming. And so knowing that, that's also why this way of working that I found works for me. I go in and then I leave.
Does the work with customers is actually your fuel to be so energized? The reason why I'm asking is during COVID, you also experienced some downtime
Yeah,
because you
well,
were disconnected from
yeah.
people and you need people.
Yeah, yeah. During COVID, for me, I actually physically felt my brain just
Mm.
shut down. Half of it was like, whatever, call me back when it's up again. I played video games a lot. Things where you need to do stuff and go to a point, and so there's something going on. There's like kind of a future. I live in the future, so having no future, COVID was really not good for me. I can't concentrate when there's silence. It's really bad for me. And I live in the country, which is good for the air and etc. But when you have to work and you have to work on your job, because indeed all the country shut down, so I couldn't work anymore. Really, I did a bit of online work because girls gotta eat, but really, and with my lovely personality, I just said fuck it. I don't want to do like helping people get their Zoom on or whatever. I don't want to do that. I want to help people change the world, and or at least change their world. And so yeah, it was a really very down time for me, but honestly it was good problem still, right? I could make the choice. And we had this conversation yesterday with another of my business partner, Virginia, and Corey knows her as well. And we said, yeah, it's tough to decide and to have integrity in what you want to do and the way you want to do it. And this society is not made for people who want to change the world, obviously, because it's in place. And so there's the status quo people and the against the status quo people. Obviously, I'm against the status quo, but and we were discussing, and I told her, we are super lucky to actually be able to make that choice. A lot of other people and women, we were also talking about women, a lot of other women don't have a choice. They almost have to prostitute themselves because we are all chasing money, which freaking doesn't exist, but whatever. We're chasing it. And because we are lucky enough to have a family that support us and we can make that choice, we have to. Because if we don't do it, then who will? We have to keep that integrity and never give it away. you know
There's a famous saying from Jordan Peterson. He says, when you're not willing to live up to your potential, you leave a hole in the society of something you meant to do and nobody else.
Mm.
How do you face this challenge of being one of the few, or probably it's many, and what are you doing currently to make the world a better place?
Well, first of all, I think it's many. There's many, many people that can do a lot of things. And for me, it's always been, you make a decision, you own up to it. You own up to it. Don't regret. Yes, you could have done millions of the things, but whatever, if you go back, then if you go back, you go back. So you make the same decision because you have the exact same, information at the time. But you own up to it and you try to learn and to find solutions to make a tiny change, tiny steps. There's no such thing as a small effort. Every effort is an effort, and everything that you do, it helps. And for me, the best thing that we can do is doing our best. We do our best. And some days our best is really not much. COVID me will know that, and doing my best was playing video games. That was it. I had nothing more. And then some days I could still find energy to kick myself in the butt and do a little thing. And that was my best for that day. And some days, you're in a podcast with great people and you get to enjoy a conversation and talk. And here, I think the best we can do is connect. That's the most, I think, the most anti-status quo thing we can do that's going to change the world. We connect, we organize together with like-minded people, and there are a lot of them. We are everywhere. We just feel so desperate and alone and stuck in this freaking system that doesn't work, and everybody knows that. And so we connect, we talk, we use our social instincts, especially when you're me, an extrovert, and needing to talk to people. But yeah, and that's how it is. And for me, I have my short-term goals and what I do every day. I have my long-term goals. I want to build video games that change the world. So that's one of my side projects that I have in my mind. And my day job need to pick up really, really strongly so I can have my side hustle as well, to get in. But that's it. We have ideas and we decide that we're going to do it. And whatever happens, we did it. Whether it fails or not, it doesn't matter. It's just failure is action, and action is all we get, right? Yeah. So we connect.
You said a lot in that, Matt, and I'm just like, hang on, which one am I going to go? Which rabbit hole are we going to go down first? But you've said the words "change the world" quite a few times,
Yeah.
and you also mentioned how the work that you do and with the people that you're working with, you're helping to change their lives. At what point in your journey did you realize that that was what you wanted to do, or that this was part of your path? Because I can feel that you are so purpose driven, and it's evident by your words.
There's a realization that I had. So I get along with people well. I have a lot of energy. We all know that now, but I can do a lot of things. So that is good. But I have this ability to empower people, and that's something that for me was really something. Is when I look back and I see, and I told you, I have 2 year cycle. I tend to, and when I work with engineers who supposedly are very shy and whatever, and because I'm a traveler, I would force them at first to give a hug because I was going for a long time, whatever, and then after a while they were just coming to me and being very, that energy that I have that is positive, I can not only give it away, but it stays there. It stays to those people. I can see it. I can see that at first they shy, they don't dare do things, but then they just open up, and they don't open up just with happiness or whatever, but it's with that purpose. They open up with, yes, let's do things. There's an engine, there's an engine that I help bring, and that they all have. They all have it. They all have it. Everybody's got it. And all we have to do is find a light and just push on it, And so I remember, when was it? It was like, yeah, 2018, I think, and I was leaving a project that I was working with, and there was this intern. She had just finished university in communication, and actually she did translation, but she wanted to go to Japan, and so there was this job, and some of the partners were in Japan, and so she was like, I'm in, but she didn't say much, she didn't talk much to other people, but and she was late often, and she was a bit artistic, and after 6 months, I remember the day I left, she saw me from afar, from like we were in a street or whatever, and she ran and she jumped on me, and we fell, the two of us. We fell laughing, and with the whole team next to me. It was just like that. It was just like that shy little person. Now she knew, and she wanted to do something, and she wanted to go get it, and she did. She's in Japan now, and that's awesome, right? That's awesome when you see that it works, right? That it works, that connection. Let's connect. It actually works. There's magic in teams. This just is. This just is.
If there's magic in teams, why do so many teams being frustrated when working together? What are you? What is a unique power that you transformed it?
I'm not saying the teams I work with weren't frustrated. They were saying it very loud when they were. But the thing is, yeah, a team is very powerful, but very fragile as well. It's we tend to say, and I work with people with numbers, and numbers are very important. The financial thing are very important. It's true. You need to understand, how you're spending your money and how much you need to get to do what you want to do, right? It's not the value, but it's the vehicle of value. We need it to be able to change our world, right? But we talk about that as the most important thing, and the truth is it's not. The most important thing is the people. It's the company culture. The company culture is everything. That's how companies thrive, and that's how companies die. It's with the company culture. That's the only reason. There's no problem, and we've seen that. There's tons of books about companies that were really going down, and then a new CEO or new blah blah just came in and was transparent, and oh miracle, the team just organized, gathered, and they changed everything. It's not a miracle, it's just transparency. It's just plain forward. And a lot of the work that I do is just point out the obvious. It's just when you're in it, when you in your business, you just don't see it anymore. That's why, we say, and maybe I take that from horse riding as well, everybody need a coach. In horse riding, your coach is going to tell you, you need to stand up straight, you need to stand up straight. And so you start standing up straight, and you really focus on standing up straight. The result is your feet are going forward, and so now you need to pull your legs back. And so the coach says, now you need to pull your leg back. And then you pull your leg back, your back is going a bit down. And so there's always something, because we're humans and we can only focus on a few things at the same times, even if just one, which means that there's always something else that's going to go. So a team is magical, but it's fragile. You need to work on it all the time. You need to always make an effort to understand your people and to work on yourself. It's not just understanding your people, it's working on yourself. The only thing that you can change is your own reaction to things. It's your own appreciation of how things work. And never take anything for granted. Always ask questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question, never, from anybody. It's just something that hasn't been said before that needs repeating. And that's good, because when you talk to one person, there's going to be a personality. Then there's another person coming. It's going to be something completely different. A third person is coming, and something completely different again. And then somebody goes, and then another person goes in. It's a everyday work. I always tell my clients, I'm not there to help them facilitate things. I'm not there to make it easy for them. I'm just there to help them go through the pain and through the hard things, because it's going to be always all the time. But at least I do it with a smile on my face, and I tell that it's fun, and I tell them that it's fun, So sometimes they believe me, and sometimes it's like, yeah, it's hard, but that's it. You have to work on your team, and when they're frustrated, be transparent.
So, in a way, is it that you're shining a light on their inabilities to connect properly?
No, I think I'm more shining a light on the abilities that they have to connect with people.
Right. Okay.
It's really more that. It's really just giving a little push. It's telling people, yes, you can do it, of course. There's a lot of people, you do things and I didn't know I could do that. Very often, one of the first thing that I get with I didn't know I could do that is there's an issue. And for example, I'm working with the marketing department and there's something that's weird. And it seems that it's a bit techie, or it has to do with the R&D department somehow, And so I just get up, I take that person and I say, let's go. And I go to the R&D department and we ask the question and we sit on the desk or whatever, I'm there to disrupt. That's my job, So everybody knows I'm coming, which means I'm going to disrupt you if I want to. That's the thing I do. But it makes the person realize that they actually can do that. And then I tell them that they should. A department is not a silo. It's an expertise that you need to use every day. Teams change. When you're working on something, you need to rebuild a new team with the best people to do whatever you want to do. And if you're stuck and there's something to do, with tech or whatever, and the person that's skilled is in another department, you go get that person. Or you ask, what's your planning? Can we be on the planning, or when, whatever. But that's your team right there. Your team is not just within your little department. That makes no sense. Departments are made for legal reason mostly. That's it. It's not really needed. It's just, once again, it's what the system asks and requires. Yeah.
Evelyn is still thinking. What has been the toughest so far? The toughest challenge which even get you stretched over the normal way of working, where you really need to put a lot of efforts in? And what was the reason for finding yourself in such a situation?
The hardest part for me personally is to keep my integrity and to want more. I tend to isolate myself. You're at a job, and once I realize that it's not going where I wanted to go, my integrity might be, impaired, I just go. But I go. I don't look for another job or whatever. It's just next day I'm out. It's find me a solution, whatever. I stay to make sure the next person is there. But so, and I have nothing, no other job, no other client, no whatever. And so I'm back in my, in my countryside with silence. And I'm like, shit, that's not gonna be well. And so that's the thing. When you make decisions that are, we say high risk, high rewards. That's true, but most of the time it's high risk, no rewards. And that's something that we need to be okay with. And we need to persevere and keep at it. And I think that's the thing that is the scariest, and knowing what it means for me. For me, it's that silence that I don't like, even if I need it from time to time. That's for sure. But when you're with clients and they want to take risk, you can't advise them. It needs to be up to them, but you have to, and somehow you also have to. So you help them prepare, with numbers, with what could be and whatever. But we know that what could be, we have no idea. I mean, we have no idea. And especially now, the world is burning, and we just, if you think about the future, it does not go well, but it has to. The only way that the future will be good if we envision it. And so for me, when my clients or friends, it doesn't matter, it's just people. But when people need to be taking a big chance. And, mostly it has to do also with their integrity and doing the thing that the way they feel it's aligned with them. I try and give them optimistic visions, and knowing that, it's high risk, but damn, if we make it, that's awesome, and we need to see that and to try and look for that. The more we try, the better we have a chance to actually do it. Let's not sit down and cry all the time.
You keep talking about integrity. So,
Yeah.
what are things which are harmful to your integrity? Actions or objectives, goals of the customer? What would that be?
It's not harmful, it's more, well, it integrity for me, it's the kind of authenticity. It's being, and I think everybody knows what's right and what's wrong. You can have a different in intensity, but I mean, people are not dumb. A lot of, we like to say that people are stupid. They're not. They're being conditioned, but they're not stupid. And plus, I know, because I can open up people, so I know that all you need is to stop them from being in survival mode, so their IQ can go up again, and everybody's IQ can go up. In this society, we create an artificial survival mode that actually doesn't need to exist, but does. But everybody's IQ can go up. It's it's hard, and when it's a big group, but it is. But so I don't know. Integrity for me, it's something that I feel. It's most of the time there are things, it's small things. It's like everything else. At some point, there's things that are disturbing. Um, in my past experience, business experience, it was inability to delegate, to let go, that need to control, that need that comes from fear. And that I tried, I tried several times to really help, and usually it's entrepreneur, it's people that have a lot on their shoulders, so it's understandable, and they build it from scratch. So I understand the want for control. But the problem is, if they keep at that, sometimes they go to a point where they prefer to break their toy instead of letting somebody else use it. And when that point is reached, you have to think about the other people on the boat. You have to think, we have only one life. And if those people are just dropping their neurons, staying here, they need to know that. Helping means showing the door sometime. And it's sad, and hopefully that also helps the person with the control issue maybe understand things. That's a point in time when you know that you've done everything that you could, and if you keep at it, then your integrity is going, because you know that you've done everything that you could. So there's nothing else that you could do. It's if you're not helping, then you're not doing what you meant to do. So you need to go. So it's really that difficulty to know when to quit. But the truth is, sometimes you have to quit to help. And it's difficult, because we like to do things, and we don't like to fail. But I've learned to not see that as a failure. It's just an evolution. It's a continuation. And sometimes people, once again, they're just people. They're not bosses or manager or employees. They're people. And sometimes they need to figure things out for themselves, and they need to understand it the hard way sometimes. But that's just the way it is. It's just the way it is.
Maite, since you're struggling to put integrity into words, or what would go against your integrities, let me rephrase the question. What
Mm.
type of principles you have which you're operating under? Probably that's giving you some.
Yeah, it's my big principle of always is respect.
Okay.
So I'm really not equality, but equity, let's say, person. We are not all equal. Some people are great at something, and some other people are great at other things. So it's not about, you don't give equality the same thing, because some people, I don't, some things you don't care about. don't give me a training in code. I'm just going to throw the computer by the window, but somebody else might love it. It's not a quality, but it's my big thing is status. I don't believe in that, and it makes no sense, and it's not efficient. It's just not. If you think that you're better or worse, it works both ways, right? It works both ways. If you think that you're better or worse than something else, than somebody else in front of you or anywhere else, then you're not going to be yourself with that person, and you're not going to take everything you've got and put it in the good of the business, the endeavor that you're building, the project or whatever. You need to have that respect for yourself and for other people, to look at them as 100% full other being that is nothing less or more than you, and then understand the differences, and then you can see those are just differences. But if, for me, let's say, my integrity, if faced with somebody who really can do that, I'm going to try and bring them with me. And maybe sometimes I'm the one that's wrong. I don't know. I mean, if they want to be there, we need everybody in the world, it's perfectly fine. But that's where I draw the line. There's no such thing as, kings and slaves. That's bullshit. It just is. So if you want to be a king or a slave, that's fine, but I'm not going to be there with you. Yeah.
Yeah, I fully understand that and agree. I love the passion, and I love the themes that are coming out of this conversation. So, how you were just talking about people being able to see other people on the same level, and they're not better, not worse. Would you say that one of our collective universal human programs is to judge, and also to live in a state of lack? Do you see that in the people that you work with? Would you say that that's part of a collective consciousness program?
Maybe historically, but then when I think of that, it's true that I think of that sometimes, but the next thought that I have is that we're so tiny, right? We're babies in evolution. I like to say, we kind of as a species, we kind of at the age of a toddler. We bite and we say no all the time. That's kind of where we're at. We kind of need to get our ass kicked, and the way we're at, we might very well be at that stage where we're playing with a gun and we're looking at it, and it's either go there or it's going to go there, and we'll survive, and we'll think about what we did, and we'll be better off for it. And that's why I cling on. The future can be good, or at least we can strive for it. And the truth is, I'm not a religious person. I understand faith. I don't understand religion. It scares me. But, the way we think about it and the way we push through it, there is actually a way to make things better. And when you think about heaven and hell, well, heaven is here. And we just decided consciously, as a species, we decided to transform that into hell. That's insane. That's insane. We created unimaginable cruelty. Unimaginable. That is like 21st century, unimaginable cruelty. Industrialization of life. Not just animals, humans as well. Let's not fool ourselves. We're talking about slaves, like kings and slaves. There are still kings and slaves in reality. It's just but it's in the reality of our own species, in our little games that we play. This is all created and all bullshit. And we're just too small to understand that we can change that. But we will. I decided that we will, and that's it. You just decide and you say, I'm going to believe it. I'm going to see it. I'm going to see ourselves evolve, keep growing, and remove all those stupid rules that makes no sense. We have everything that we need to have absolutely no poor people. We need to stop saying that we're so evolved and that we're civilized countries. We are not civilized. As long as there are one homeless person in any city, we are not civilized. This is the only, not the only, but at least the first thing that a society is built on. It's to bring safety. That's the first reason people get together. It's to be safe together. This is just not it. We are failing like really bad at it, but we can still do better. We can always do better. We can always do better. And if we don't think that we can, then we won't. So the only efficient thing is to believe that we will, and so we just might.
Did our society somehow lost social responsibility for the sake of profit maximization, everybody making money and everybody competing with everybody else and judging people, I'm better than you are? Or how would you describe?
No, I think actually it's interesting because we talked about, the company and indeed having a manager or top management. It's even worse, but that is control issue that's based on fear. And then the teams that are very fragile and can get frustrated. It's actually exactly the same, but in a macroscopic environment. The 2% of the population that has all the money, those people are not happy. They're shitless scared. They're really scared. They want to grab. They see that some people are starving and they're like, shit, if I don't keep my money, I'm going to starve as well. That's not true, of course, but that's, I mean, I don't know them. Let's chat with them to make sure. They're going to say no, probably. But for me, the way I see it is kind of, if you take a perspective, it's just people being afraid and then completely losing touch with reality. So it's ego, it's ego, and ego is feeding something that is based on fear and on attraction rules, and on, I want to be the best, not in a way that makes sense to me, but in a way that's gonna looks good on whatever, media or whatever, because that's just consumption thriving. It's people clinging on things to try and be happy, but it's a compulsion. So of course it's unhealthy. And we have it as individuals, we having as companies, and we have having it as societies. And we need to evolve out of it. And we can see that there are a lot of things that are happening with people wanting to be more healthy, people, putting it back in question the way that things are done. And so when we say, is the fact that I don't know, that I'm sorting out my garbage, or that I'm asking to please don't put a plastic straw in my glass, is it really changing something? Yes, it is, because microeconomy kind of mirrors, the macro one. So if we all mirrors of everything, once again, there's no small effort. Any small effort can be one added to another one that goes in a bigger place, that is the community, the community memory, the community way. And then we also tend to forget that, revolution happen all the time. Government falls all the time. There's change all the time. We say that we're fearful of change. The truth is, the only thing that we are is change. We always changing. Everything is always changing all the time. And it's going to change as well. There's going to be change that we don't foresee. We call ourselves expert. What do we know? Nothing. We just give our best guess and hope for the best.
Maite, there's one word or phrase I'm going to use to describe you, and that is that you're a change maker. And I know that, from the work you do in the world, it's in business, right? And you're giving people permission to be brave, right? And communicate bravely and connect. That's the output. But I feel like you've got a much bigger mission. Am I right?
Yeah.
Tell me
I
about
hope
that.
we'll see. Well, I want to change the world. I just do. I think it's beautiful, but when it's not efficient, or as a species, we're not working the right way, and we think about things and we consume, and we say, okay, we'll make it more efficient. We're looking in the wrong direction. And a lot of things that we do, I think, is just looking in the wrong direction. So for example, instead of saying, hey, we make this technology more efficient so we can use less, petrol or whatever, and then the result is not actually that the petrol demand goes down, it goes up like very high because more people want it. But the truth is, and we say that's efficient, it's not if you put yourself to the point of the earth. Is it efficient for the earth? No, it's not. So let's change that. So it's just a point of view. We need to shift that. We need to shift that as part of a community, as part of the team, the same way that we know that teams of people are magical. What I do also think that teams of multi-species and nature is magical as well. We know that. We just don't really do it. And for me, the click that I had was in 2016, I decided to go vegan. It was a conversation with a colleague, and then it just went, and within 5 months I was like, okay, everything out. And that was it. It was really, for me, it was really about that respect that I have, and that status, if I'm no better than anybody else, who says anybody is a person? No, anybody is anybody, any living form. Why doesn't any living form deserve the same respect that I deserve? That started like that. And so it kind of made me see different potential of words, see different things. I would walk into the street and imagine something else, and I could see it in the back of my eye. Not really, but still,
when writers
and I
say
started
they're writing a book, they always start
and
with a
to do mind maps
shitty
because
first
I love
draft,
them.
which is like a first
And
pancake.
so I have mind
It's
maps
going to
of
be greasy,
different
it's going to
things,
be
and then during
very
COVID,
disgusting.
playing
But if you
video
don't do that
games,
first pancake,
it just
you never
I
get
just
to do the
realized
other
two
ones.
things. The first one
And
is,
so that's how you start.
there's
and
indeed
so
not
I
that many
figured
people that can see
video
an
game
optimistic
could
future.
be a good way to kind
I'm
of
one of those people.
help people.
And if I'm
do
one
their
of those
first
people
pancakes
and I notice
and
that
see
there's
something
not
and
that
open
many,
them up,
then I need
and
to
a way to take my
somehow
energy
share
and
it,
put it in
find a way,
something else.
anyway.
So it's not just me going on the field.
And well, video games is a
games.
great way to do that.
Going
right?
on the field and
It's
giving
not
energy and
only
telling people,
you
yes,
can
you
show
can be brave
better
and you can
worlds,
do
but
whatever
you
you
can
want.
actually
This
make
is
people experience
a
that.
beautiful word. So just
and
screw the
then
rules
you've got your
because we
first
created
pancake
them for ourselves and they
the
suck
first
ass.
pancake
And
book,
so
what it
change
is.
that.
So it's basically
I was actually going to
So-
ask you, so how are you going to inspire people, right? And, create, I guess, connections between like-minded people. And then you just said doing it through the video games, but how else? Like, there's so much energy in you, and clearly there's a lot to be done in
Where would you
your
start?
words. Yeah.
Where would it start to change the world without the woman power? I mean, obviously you have woman power. And what could we do on top with having the Wonder Woman power in having found those like-minded people to form a force, a joint force, which can do much, much more than you can do.
yeah.
But there's a starting point. Where do you start?
Once again, I started connecting. So I do
Okay.
podcasts. I help people create gatherings, online or offline. It doesn't matter. But you do one little thing, you give it away, and you give. That's really the thing. It's just giving just never gets out. You never empty of giving. The more you give, the more you have to give. It's just the way it is, because the truth is giving gives you endorphins and you're happy. We're social beings. So the primal thing that we want to do is be useful. And when we're useful, we feel appreciated. We feel, part of something. And that's what we all want. And I guess the way I try to do that is I'm taking advice from anybody. So if you have one thing, and so I did, with you, Evelyn, when you said, Maite, just come to the podcast and talk. I was like, yes, be a yes person. Be a yes person. Anytime people ask you, do you want to do this, or I can't do that, you offer your help, and you just help, and helping other people helps yourselves.
Mm. How does your goals of changing the world, because that's why you're here, clearly, very
Yeah.
clearly, which excites me, by the way.
I need help for that. Right? I play video games, but I don't know squat about them, right? I talk about other people, but I'm stat -5 for the moment. But anyhow,
It's fine. Remember, there's no comparing, there's no judgment, there's no measurement,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
So how let's link back to business.
Yeah.
If we're individually capable of making the changes, like you were saying, because every minute or micro action we have represents the macro. Yeah, I heard that. It's so true.
Yeah.
But I think we forget it as humans in
Yeah.
our little worlds. So people listening to this, hopefully you're getting the picture of what Maite's saying. So my question to you, Maite, is how do we relate back to business in terms of changing the world? How can business then help to make the changes that you're talking about?
I think the first thing is to be sure that there's a mission in the company. You know, the why of a company is never to make money. If it is, it makes no sense because money doesn't exist. So there you go. But why is it that you're gathering together and you're organizing? How do you want to help people? You know, it's always about people. So what's your mission? How do you get there? So that at least is in between everybody. And then it's just to realize and even point out to yourself and to others, a little change that you do in your behavior can affect one person, two people, three, whatever. But that can really have a true impact. Just changing one little thing, and that's just it. And it's try and try again. You know, it's I don't know. Next time you're in a meeting and there's one person that never talks because that person is introvert and you're an extrovert. I'm talking about myself here, right? I can never shut up. That's my that's my thing. But I have that a lot of time. Then what I do is I simply go sit next to that person. And at some point I ask them to talk to just me, not everybody, just me, or write down things. And then I say those things to everybody. But that's a mean to have that person still included within the meeting and actually participate, even though it's with my voice. It doesn't matter. Just say, blah, blah is thinking this and that could be interesting. What do you guys think? And then at some point, blah, blah is going to say it for herself or himself, But it's small things. Is when you see something, don't just look at it. Just figure out if you can help. If you can help the business, if you can help the person, it doesn't matter, but figure out if you can help and try it. And if it didn't help, it doesn't matter. An error is an action. We need actions, and that's it. So yeah, it's always that mindset. The same way a business needs to be helping people, and people in the business need to be helping people as well. And it's small things. Don't be and self-compassion. Don't tell yourself, if I don't help anybody today, I'm a moron. It's not true. We do our best every day, and sometimes it's not much, and sometimes it's a lot. And it has to be okay, because that's the best that we did, right?
It's a lot of wise words for such a young lady like you are.
Yeah, I'm 22. Could you see that? Yeah.
Where is that coming from? I mean, where is that coming from? It's not just coming from nowhere. It's that the number of experiences, challenges throughout your life. Is it just you had always that type of connection, that empathy to people, that clear view on how society is and how it should be to
It's not
make.
clear. I mean, talk to me tomorrow, and I'll have different things in my head, running there. It's just going, But there's one thing I think that helped. But first, I don't consider myself a person that had challenges. I really had. Well, everybody has challenges, but I only had good ones. Let's say I live in a rich country. I needed nothing, growing up. I had loving parents and sisters, and they were having challenges. So I didn't really. So I didn't have to. And I was early start in my life until I was 10 or 12. People didn't interest me. Only other species were my thing. I wanted to understand that. It was all other little words. When we say changing the world, you can change another world very easily. Or you just look at something in another world, I would spend
just dazed, just like taking rocks and looking if there was little scarabs or something just crawling. And we would go, when I was, I don't know, 3 or 5, we would go to a restaurant, and there was a dog, and I would spend the whole evening in the doghouse with the dog and not wanting to go back. I didn't care about eating or about being with people, but in a way it forces you to observe and to communicate with another being that has a different way of communicating. And so you have to learn with other ways. You have to learn with your touch. You have to learn, on horse riding, you have to learn with your butt, right? You have to learn with your posture. You have to feel, and we do. It's just you feel the horse, and it's magical. That team magic, I know it since I was 8, and I started horse riding, and I felt a connection with your horse. And there's something, it's your sport, but it's also your best friend and your responsibility. So you have to, since I was 10. So when I was 10, the pony that I really loved, the owner of the pony just came to me and said, if nobody buys the pony, we're just gonna send her to the slaughterhouse. So of course I came back home crying to my parents, who were struggling, but decided that, okay, fine, we need to get the pony. And that's how I started having horses. But so it means that starting 10 years old, I was responsible for another being that was completely, fully dependent on me. And I took it on, and I think I learned a lot with that, on perseverance and on keeping my bad personality in check, because the horse would have usually we say the horse looks like their owner or their rider. It is so true. So I had a bad personality going, well, not bad, but I mean, lots of energy kind of going a bit of everywhere. And so the horse would do the same, a bit dangerous, but whatever. And so I had to learn, okay, if I don't calm down, we're just going to go into the wall. It's not going to be good, but you learn that. And yeah, you learn that. You learn to be calm, to try and understand other people, and to get help. You understand that we can't do anything alone. We can't. Our society tends to say, self-made man, self-made woman. That's bullshit. It doesn't exist. There's nobody, nothing on this earth that does anything alone. Not anything consequent. Nothing. There's always somebody else, a lot of people, a lot of other whatever that's contributing to whatever we're doing. And we need to put that back in our minds. There is no such thing as a self-starting whatever. It's not self-starting ever. It's not.
Yeah, the old paradigm of being alone and competitiveness and working in isolation is completely outdated now. It's I think from my view, like when I look at businesses or people that still operate under that paradigm, they're the ones that are suffering. They're the most unhappy. They're struggling. They just haven't got it yet. It really is about, like you said, the team, the connection. We are all connected.
Yeah.
And I love how you learnt to communicate with other beings and learn how to understand them at such a young age. What an amazing gift to have that. Yeah. I just was reflecting as you were talking about the fact that this is the 6-Star podcast. And yet everything that you've been talking about really has touched on all the elements of 6-Star. But I'm really keen to know, in your words, what 6-Star means to you.
For me, 6-Star, it's that. It's the connection. It's not looking inward, it's looking outward. It's consciously deciding to do more than, or to strive to do more. It's that much more, and that much more you get with others. So it's reaching out to other people. It's reaching out. It's, a 6-Star business, he's got a mission that's not small. It needs to want to do something, to want to change the world somehow. And change the world doesn't mean change the whole world. It can be changing a small word. we are a whole world just in ourselves. But that's the want, to want to bring something, to help, and to make a difference. And the only way that we make a difference as human beings is by being useful. And I think you're right. The problem with success and the way we see success is that those people are so lonely. They can't trust anybody. Everybody that's gone, or hopefully they have close friends from before, they made it, because otherwise they will never know, or they will always fear, is that person loving me for me, or loving me for whatever I can do for them? And the truth is, successful should mean empowered. It should mean happy. It should mean happy. Who gives a shit what we're going to do when we grow up if we're not happy about it? And I think that's what Six Star is wanting to say, I'm not only going to work, but I'm going to be happy, and I'm going to help other people be happy. And a business it should not be meaningful for painful and obligation, and we have to do things. It should be exchanges, connections, and organization between people, community. Damn it, community, where is that? Let's find that back. That's Six
beautiful.
Star, right? That's Six Star.
Yeah.
And you show it. It's just Six Stars. It's a global community. It is. Look further. And here we're talking. You're in Australia, I'm in Belgium. I'm obviously not going to do business next week using your podcast. Who gives a shit? It's about the community that we're building. It's going to come back to us. It's going to come back to us, not in money. Who cares about money? But in happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Six Star, happy people.
I love that. Corey, thoughts, comments?
Totally new definition of Six Star attributes, but I can't agree more than that.
We've hit the hour mark. We've actually gone over time. We could keep going. There's so many topics that you've raised already that I would love to explore in another podcast. As we come to a close, I'd love to ask you to leave our listeners with something. Just, I don't know if it's a piece of wisdom or if it's a takeaway, a tidbit, something that they can, chew over or really think about.
There's something that I tell myself often. I'm a business consultant. I help businesses move forward, and I have a side project that I wanted to exist so bad, And something that I often tell my clients, and that I often tell to myself as well, is to go fast, go slow. Go slow, really slow. That will bring you there fast. If you try and go fast, you will crash and burn and go back a few steps, and then you'll still have to start over. If you want to go fast, go slow. And if you fail to plan to fail. So plan. It's not going to happen like that at all, but at least you'll have built yourself to be able to take on whatever's coming to the best of your abilities, of course. So to go fast, go slow. That's my thing.
I need to repeat myself. Wise words again from a very young lady. So,
Maite, I thank you so much. I so love this conversation. I'm so glad you came on the podcast, and yeah, I'm just really grateful for you sharing your genius, your wisdom, and everything else. So thank you.
Let's change the world together, guys, right?
Yeah.
Yes, let's change the world.
See ya.
Thanks. Bye.